This is the Sunshine Cathedral Perspective. Australia churches upset Religious Rights Act prioritized rights over discrimination. Australia's Christian schools peak body has warned a proposed federal Human Rights Act could threaten religious freedoms, urging the Albanese government to revisit religious discrimination legislation. Christian Schools Australia, CSA, and Australia's human rights framework was lopsided and prioritized non-discrimination above other equally important rights that had eroded protection for religious freedom. In its submission to a parliamentary inquiry into Australia's human rights framework, CSA said the exemption to anti-discrimination and equal opportunity laws was granted to religious schools with a poor mechanism which was being weakened in many justifications. The exemption allows religious schools to hire teachers from their own faith and fire teachers who come out as gay, become involved in an adulterous relationship, or in any other way fail to reflect the institution's religious principles. The inquiry conducted by the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Human Rights is reviewing the human rights framework, which requires that every bill be accompanied by a statement on its compatibility with human rights obligation. For the first time since it was introduced in 2010, a spokesperson for Federal Attorney General Mark Dreyfus said the government will carefully consider the committee's report due next year. Anita Bryant comes to mind. You know, the whole Anita Bryant era comes to mind real quick, reading through that story about, just being able to fire someone because they're gay or in an adulterous relationship or don't follow the principles. How would you manage that? You know, it's like, for real people, what you do behind your closed doors is your business, and how you display what you want to display in public is really your integrity and your business as well. But this seems like it's work that needs to be done and needs to be reviewed, because if you talk about taking away people's rights based on the things that listen, it's like, come on, human rights are far more important to anything that is discriminatory.
Yes.
Discrimination is discrimination. It's discrimination. You can't call anything else. But human rights are human rights universally. And I think we're all called to make sure that all human rights are protected as much as possible.
Yeah, there is some complete BS that is just in the water that everybody's drinking, in the air everybody's breathing, that somehow your religious freedom is like the most important thing, and it trumps anyone else's right to even exist.
Yep, exactly.
Like if I think that women should stay home and be covered from their chin to their ankle, and well, then I get to impose that. Maybe I can pass a ordinance in the city council. Because and then if you call me a bigot or if you resist it, well, you're hurting my religious freedom. No, I can require, if I can get a single woman in the world to agree with me, I can require in my church that women do that, but I can't require that the world do that. So that's not imposing. I just hate it. I hate it so much. If you tell me that you're going to impose an extra tax on the sales of Bibles, and Bible's part of my business, okay, that's a little oppressive. Why are you pointing out my Bible for extra taxation? If you say we can't meet on Sundays, and that is universally and historically our holy day. If you say we can't have communion, or we can only have communion once a week, once a month, why are you in my business with communion? That's religious oppression. To say that you can't tell women they're not people, and you can't tell gay people they're not people, and you can't tell divorced people they're not people. That's not religious oppression. That is the prevention of oppression by religion. And it's a very different situation. And it seems so simple to me. I can't believe that's even an argument.
It's an argument. People just, they want to understand discrimination the way that they want to understand it. And if it means imposing their belief system on people, it's sad, but it just continues on. And this is happening in Australia. It happens here in the United States. It happens everywhere. And it's just heartbreaking whenever we see something like that.
And these are places where they've either suffered from colonization and have adopted the ways of the colonizer, or they are places that have really problematic histories with indigenous inhabitants.
Yes. Good point.
And in the case of Australia, it's both. In the case of the U.S., it's both. And so oppression is so built into the identity, I think, of these people that they don't even realize.
Yeah.
That, of course, I feel entitled to say you don't deserve to be married, or you don't deserve to have a job, or you don't deserve, because that's how they've run for hundreds of years. They don't even know it's in their DNA.
Yeah.
So it is written, so it shall be.
Yeah.
It's a whole control thing. And until we understand that that's what it is, this is going to continue. If I can make you do something just because I say so, then what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
How far am I going to go?
Yep.
And as you just said, it's historic in too many nations. How do we change it? That I guess is the question that we try to ask here at Sunshine Cathedral. How do we do it? And we do it by showing a different way of living. We show a different way of acceptance. We say, you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. That you are real, beautiful, and wonderful. And we don't need any rules or regulations or any control. You come to us the way you are, and we accept you immediately. We find out what you feel, how you feel, and love you because of who you are.
And we don't damn the questions. We sacralize the questions. And so I think what we can do is what we do is that we subvert Christianity, but not as an attack on the outside, but as Christians who ask the questions and show the different ways. Like, we are the first ones, I think, to say, wait a minute, you're saying that your invisible God wrote a book. And first of all, read another book and you'll know that people wrote things and then councils put them together. That's how the book got there. But anyway, so you're saying that your invisible God wrote a book. You understand the book. Anyone who disagrees with you doesn't understand the book. And somehow this magic book written by this invisible person, and P.S. that invisible person didn't write it to begin with, and your understanding of that, that's how everyone has to be. And if we disagree with that, we're oppressing you. Well, obviously that's crazy. Obviously, that's crazy. And we're the first ones to say that. We don't need atheists to say that. And we don't need people from other religions to say that. We're going to say it. So that we can make something make sense and offer it as an alternative so that people don't dismiss religion entirely.
Absolutely.
Let's offer religion that makes sense.
Yes.
And we have to say that a whole lot here in the state of Florida in the USA.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm just, all these, this, let's pass this law, let's pass this law. It's about erasing, it's about discrimination. And when you want to use the Bible, as you're saying, to enforce that, really, this is not about that. The Bible is one thing, laws are another thing. And let's look at how laws are doing a lot of damage and a lot of harm to a lot of people in the world, really.
Right. Oh, yeah.
In the name of religion, in the name of the Bible, or the Bible says this. I mean, if you want to be legalistic about it, in which you won't want to be.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You don't want to be legalistic about it, because there are a lot of things that will not be happening to this day. So let's not even go down that road. But let's, there's love, there's compassion, there's been a place of hope and a beacon of hope. But we shout that message loud and clear for Sunshine Cathedral, because even just in the state of Florida, what we continue to be up against here is mindful of what's going on in the larger context around the world.
Right.
And it seems like all these things continue to happen here. There's not just isolated pockets.
No,
these things are happening around the world, and we need to be woke to these things that are happening around the world and call them out.
Yes.
Right.
And if you've been tormented by the threat of an afterworld punishment that we can't even prove exists, and that's in the name of an invisible deity that no one can show you, please just relieve yourself of that burden. I personally believe that love is sacred. I do believe that there's this interconnected web of existence. We're part of it. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's divine. I call it God. You are free to disagree with that and have a completely different understanding of ultimate reality. But whatever I believe, whatever you believe, it shouldn't be what determines the quality of your life. You shouldn't be able to be less human or have fewer civil rights or be threatened with afterlife torment. That's just cruel, that's abusive. And you have the right now to say, I just don't buy any of that shit.
Next up, we are excited to tell you about our next adventure with our Global Fellowship. In 2024, we'll be going to where the hills are alive as we explore Austria and Alpine Europe for Gay Oktoberfest. Space is extremely limited, so make sure to go to happeningout.travel/sunshine to reserve your space now.
Would you like to join the Queer God Squad on a special winter cruise in 2024? Well, now you can. You will visit Cozumel, Mexico, Grand Cayman, and Ocho Rios. And you can even add an open bar and Wi-Fi. Join us by going to happeningout.travel/sunshine.